Is being brought to you this week by Major Spoilers VIP and Patreon members from around the world. You can show your support for everything we do and get access to a bunch of other cool things and talk with a bunch of cool people by pointing your browser to patreon.com/Major Spoilers. Happy Friday, everyone. Oh, I am so glad to see you here. And if you're not here live, why aren't you here live? It's the end of the day. It's time to head into the weekend. Time to have a little bit of fun. And I think today we're just going to kick back and relax. Just chill a little bit. It's been a long week. Found out today that I didn't turn in a report that I was supposed to turn in a year ago. So that was a mad scramble. Also, I had to sit through a training today on some new software. The dumbs, everyone. The dumbs. They really bring down any kind of real learning that goes on, I think. And then I had Chip Mosier from Comixology come and talk to my entrepreneurship class today to talk about Comixology and its history and his background and way things work. So that was a lot of fun. At least I got out of it. I don't know if my students, who I don't think any of them have ever read a comic book in their life, have done that. So, you know, it was cool. It was a good day. And I got so much. I have so many things to talk about. Were we here last week? I think we were here last week, right? I don't remember. The days are just literally, the days bleed together. If it wasn't for my journal notebook where I've made a calendar of things that are going on, I would totally not know what day of the week it was. Seriously. There's that music. Love Comixology, life changer. Would have loved that. Lucky kids. I mean, he didn't go into like secret details or anything, but we talked about, you know, some of the things that made Comixology work and how to dig out of that. So hopefully they were able, and this is the thing that I tell these kids, because I had Scott Johnson in on Monday to talk to them about art, and one of the kids was just like, yeah, he's an artist. I'm computer security guy. Why is that going to blah, 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 blah? And I had to say, well, ideally you should be taking the lessons that these people are learning and applying to your field of expertise and see if they're doing something different that can make your field different or improve your field or give you a competitive edge. So sometimes it takes a lot of a lot of time to get people together. Xanthus says, are you teaching online? Because of this thing called the pandemic, yes, we have taken all of our classes, and I've been teaching online for decades now, since the early 2000s. But yeah, because of the pandemic, we don't have face-to-face classes right now, so everything is a hybrid learning environment. So once I get inoculated and all the other students in the class get inoculated, then we can come back to campus and have some face-to-face stuff, which I don't know if I'm looking forward to that, but for right now, I teach online. Most of them are here in town anyway, so it's very interesting. So Malone Haskell says, we got about 40 centimeters of snow today. Let me see, that's like what, 3.5 inches? Is that how much 40 centimeters is? I think that's right. Let's look here. I don't have my tape measure, but I do have my my thingy-mer-bobber. Oh, inch and a half. Inch and a half of snow. So that's not too bad. Providing that you're prepared for it, obviously, yes. If I can get my research done, I think this week's Major Spoilers Weekly, the email that you can sign up for if you are not already signed up for it. I'm pretty sure all of you are signed up for the Major Spoilers email. I'm going to talk how a blizzard in the 70s almost got DC shut down. 1.5 feet. 40 centimeters. Oh, I guess I'm looking at millimeters. Yeah, so 40 centimeters is quite a bit. No, is that right? 40 centimeters? Hey, Siri. How much is 40 centimeters in inches?
40 centimeters.
Oh, 15 inches. Yeah, that's a foot and a half. Yeah. 1.2 feet. That is a lot. I wish we just switched to the metric system overall. How do you get the VIP badge? Well, you have to be a VIP. Are you a VIP member? How did we give 1J Michael T? How did we assign those VIP member statuses? I forget. Anyway, so it's been a hectic week for me. But yes, I think for those of you who are not signed up for the Major Spoilers email list, you might want to get over to majorspoilers.com. And you might want to click on that little button over here on the side that says join the Major Spoilers email list. Every week I will send out, at least that's what we're trying to do in 2021. Every week I will send out, weekly musings. J. Michael T, has it been good? We've been doing this now for, this will be week 6 coming up. Week 7 coming up, I believe. Loving the weekly emails, says Xanthus Aries. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you're getting a lot out of them. This last week, many people who were in the Major Spoilers Discord got a shout out. And the thing is, there was a certain website last week, 2 weeks ago, that was just pounding the pavement saying, oh my gosh, DC's gonna sell again. And then as the week progressed, that site got quieter and quieter and quieter about it, and then kind of changed the terms of what the site was actually talking about. Well, we're not really talking about selling the company. We're talking about IP, buying stuff and people keeping IP. And if you are a person who's on the Major Spoilers email list, from way back at the beginning of the year, I said DC isn't going to sell. And I even walked through all the things that people have been talking about in the last week about the reasons why DC won't be sold. So there you go. People who want to be ahead of the curve, read the Major Spoilers Weekly. So there you go. And I don't see it. There was a promise on Twitter that, I'm going to be revealing all later this week, and I am scrolling through here, and I see nothing about this. And I'm sure if questioned, the person would be like, nah, I can't talk about it. It's all super secret hush-hush. Clicky baity. Speaking of clicky baity, Constantine supposedly getting a series in the works over at HBO Max. Constantine series is an early HBO Max development, says a certain website that they've learned from their inside sources. Currently in the search for an actor to lead the series, which I don't know why they've got a guy already. He's on Legends of Tomorrow. Just yank him and drop him in place. See, the problem, though, Lagnus, is DC is making money. That's the thing. The publishing side is making money. To the tune, and again, you have to, if you've read the Major Spoilers Weekly, you know exactly how much money they're making. And, DC keeps, in the way that this person was describing the deal, the Warner Brothers would keep all the IP rights to movies and toys and all that stuff, while the people who were going to drop somewhere in the neighborhood of $500 million plus just to get print publishing rights. That's a licensing deal. That's not print publishing rights. That's a licensing deal. Anyway, back to Constantine. They've already got a good actor who could play Constantine, although they are saying in this article that they're looking for the young adventures of Constantine. I don't think that it is the like young child kind of stuff, but, the early years, the early 20s, and perhaps the actor who's playing Constantine on Legends of Tomorrow may just be a little bit out of the age range. As always with all of these stories, HBO Max has declined to comment, so, take that for what it's worth. Yeah, I assume every single character ever made is in Hollywood pre-production. It's nothing news. Here's something that's really good. Was it Planet Money this week? Oh, I don't have my podcast app. I don't have my podcast app open on this computer, but I'm pretty sure it was a Planet Money episode this last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago, where, about a year or so ago, they had done an episode on the fact that, when Disney bought Marvel for $4 billion, they didn't buy it for they didn't buy them for their comic book runs that they were doing. They bought them for the thousands of characters, or maybe even the millions of characters that they had in their library that they might be able to exploit. And if you've been watching WandaVision today, I was able to get to see it. You know that they are exploiting some characters that may have some deep cuts. I mean, Jimmy Woo goes all the way back to Agents back in the day when it was Atlas Comics. So he's been around for a while. But I believe it's the Planet Money episode where they were like, if Marvel has literally thousands upon thousands of characters, most of them they're not using, would we be able to buy one of those characters? And it's a fantastic episode. They get Alex Segura from Archie Comics to come in and talk about why or why not their plan failed, or did it. There is a thing called a cliffhanger at the end of the episode that I think is worth checking out. But it was fantastic, and I'm just going through to make sure that it was Planet Money that had that episode, and I can't find it right now. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Even if I go over to my library, it doesn't. Let's go over to shows and see if it's there. It's about time I get a new iPhone, I think. So anyway, some other big news that's going on. So there's your hot internet action stories that are happening right now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Planet Money. Let's see if this is the most recent episode. Oh, let's see. Of course, on my phone, it hasn't been updated in forever. So I'm pretty sure it's a Planet Money episode. But yeah, I would go and track that down. Thoughts on Doom Patrol on HBO Max? I watched about half of the first season, and then I just got distracted by so many other things that I haven't been back. But it's very, very good. The episodes that I did see were very, very good, and I enjoyed that quite a bit. And I know that they are continuing that, so that might be something for you to jump on. It does have a great aesthetic, says the one J. Michael T. It is a very pretty and very interesting show that you can check out. And of course, it's got Cyborg on there. Cyborg, as I've mentioned before, is one of the most exploited characters that DC has, in the fact that he is all over the place. He's in movies, he's on TV shows, he's in cartoons, and he seems to be the one character in all of DC that has the broadest appeal. Because when you think of Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go, man, you're really looking down at you're not looking down, but you're grabbing you shouldn't be grabbing young kids. You're capturing the younger audience, right? Then you've got Cyborg on the Doom Patrol, and so you're catching the tweens to the late to mid 30s, and then of course you've got the Justice League, which is capturing everyone else for that. So Cyborg is all over the place and is probably I would say the most valuable character that DC is exploiting right now. So coming up next week, I know I'm just rambling today. Which iPhone do you currently have? I have, what is this? The iPhone, the S6 10 Max, whatever it is. I have no idea. It's been a couple of years since I've had. This is, the iPhone XS Max is the one that I have. So it's a couple of revisions. This year, everyone else in the household got new iPhones, and I opted to just hold on to mine for a little while longer. So everyone else in the house has the new stuff, and I'm limping by with something that's like 2 years old, 3 years old. I know, right? So coming up next weekend on Saturday, so mark your calendars, there'll be an email and an announcement going out, is the next VIP live chat for all of our gold members and higher. So if you're a Patreon member at the gold level and higher, next Saturday, not tomorrow Saturday, but the next Saturday, that's like the 27th or something like that, will be the next VIP live chat. And we're going to talk about all the massive changes that have happened at Major Spoilers in the last month, including something that has radically changed how we are doing our podcast and how quickly we're getting the podcasts out. So I want to talk about that. Also, the site will be going down over I believe it's the Easter weekend, because we're moving to a new server, getting it all news, updated and shiny and new. And of course, I'm going the cheap route, which means they have to take the site down for a couple of days to do it. But, you know, I'm going the cheaper route because I'm being very frugal with your money. Patreon.com/Major Spoilers. And I know that our weekends are generally no big deal times. And it is definitely, will guarantee that we won't be down for a couple of weeks like we were back in, was it 2015 when we moved over to the new servers then? So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this. I'll talk more about that on the VIP live chat in a couple of weeks, or next week. So for those of you that are patrons, go sign up and make sure you're aware of that. And if you're not a patron, go over to patreon.com/Major Spoilers. If you want to get all the behind the scenes talk that we do, then that's where you want to go. And I think there are several people that are here, like the one J. Michael T. and Malone, and probably Mark Smith 72, that have been into the VIP live chats and know what kind of things that we talk about. Some things that came in the mail. If you listen to the Major Spoilers podcast this week, I was talking about Marvel Champions, or Matthew talked about Marvel Champions, and then I gushed about it for a little bit. I got my pack of the Quicksilver Hero Pack that just came in, and I'm very excited to see how this character plays. The last one that I got in was the Wasp character, and so this literally came in the mail while I was in teaching my class today, or at least leading a Q&A with Chip Mosier. And yeah, I'm very interested to see how this deck plays. I did get to see one person play it online earlier this week, and it played very, very well. So you can kind of see the Quicksilver card. And for those of you watching WandaVision, this is definitely the classic Quicksilver costume that you see all over the place. Mark Smith 72 is the plus. So what's nice about these decks is that this is a deck that's ready to play. You can just go and play this right away. They've configured it to be a protection deck, protection and looks like miscellaneous. But yeah, they've got this set up as to be a protection deck, and so you get a series of cards that are specifically for Quicksilver. And then you have a series of cards that just have the protection aspect. And then you have your other cards that make up the deck, except for, yeah, you have these cards that make up the rest of the deck. The nice thing is, if you don't want to run this as a protection deck, you can just take the base Quicksilver cards and mix it with any of the other aspects that you get with the base game. Leadership, let's see, what else do they have? Aggression, justice, leadership are the other ones that you can get. And you can, mix and match it. I think you can build your deck as large as you want it. And then you can go and battle some villains. So it's a really fun and interesting game. I don't know if you guys have played Marvel Champions yet, but if you have not, I would highly recommend it. Have Quicksilver. Oh, you already have Quicksilver, and I think I can get Scarlet Witch next week. I have Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch has been out for a while. Yeah, these look really great. Also arrived today, I'm a little bit behind on my Arkham Horror. So part of the new Innsmouth Conspiracy campaign, we have the Devil Reef. And also arrived today, Horror in High Gear. Max 50 cards, there you go. So I'm looking forward to playing these. The I have a theory about what's going on with Arkham Horror, if anybody's playing Arkham Horror. I have a theory that they are holding off Cthulhu until the very, very, very last campaign that they do. We've already had, like, this set has Dagon as the big bad, right? We've already had the King in Yellow. We've had Yig. Who else have we had? I forgot who's in the Wanderers of the Cosmos, but that's the whole cat one, and then they had the witches one. But I have a feeling, because the very first set, the main base set that came out, has a Cult of Cthulhu villains deck, but we have not seen a Cthulhu appearance. We've had some Shoggoths appear, but no Cthulhu. So I have a feeling that when this game reaches its end, and believe me, I have a feeling that this game is getting close to an end within the next 2 years. I'm not saying that they're gonna announce the end of this game in the next 6 months or something, but I mean, they also own everything with Arkham Horror, so they could keep this one going for a long, long, long time. But I think at some point they're going to reach a conclusion, and the very, very final arc, the very final story that they have will be Cthulhu. So I don't know, Lagnus, if you're playing Arkham Horror or not, but that's just my prediction. So there you go. What else is going on? Do you guys have questions before we get out of here today? I was just came in with like I said, a laid-back attitude today, because it has been such a crazy non-stop week. We had snow and ice. The kids were already off on Monday for President's Day, but then we just had the extreme cold come in, which we talked about earlier this week. And so the kids were home on Tuesday. So that kind of screwed up my whole schedule, especially with after-school activities that the kids would normally do. And then with teaching classes and everything, it's just been blah. It's just been insane. So I came here today to just hang out with you guys and see what was going on. For anyone interested, we have a very active Discord channel where we discuss WandaVision spoilers and theories. Spoilers are hidden if you've watched the latest episode. That is true. And so here's my prediction. After today, the villain hiding in plain sight has been revealed, and people called it on the very first episode from the very first episode going forward. I honestly don't think that we're going to get any more major surprises. I think the Quicksilver appearance 2 weeks ago was the big surprise for the season. And after that, everyone who's screaming and jumping up and down about Mephisto is the big bad, no, I don't think so. Although I think the commercial on this week's episode, probably has a lot to say about what's coming down the pipe. Now, yes, maybe they still will have a couple of big surprises, but as far as storyline surprises, I think that we got it. Did I cast a valid vote on Dueling Review? Comic lists confuse me. So here's the thing. Over on patreon.com/major spoilers. Let me get over here really quick. I'm not used to this keyboard, the clackety keyboard, because it, yeah. Let's go over to post. You will be able to see each week the Dueling Review list of comics that are coming out next week, and then we ask you guys to vote on it. So you go from this list here, and we're just pointing you to all the comics that Diamond and Comixology are distributing. So when it comes to picking the comic, first of all, we don't do trade paperbacks, and we don't do collections of things that have come out before, nor do we do second printings. So if you're looking at like Faithless 2, that's a trade paperback. We won't review that one. Also, when you look at We Only Find Them When They're Dead #1, that's in its 5th printing. We won't review that one. And we won't review anything that someone else has already claimed for the majorspoilers.com website. So if some other person has said, hey, I want to review Skulldigger and Skeleton Boy #6, and they've already called it before voting closes, then we won't review that either. Otherwise, pretty much anything else is up for grabs. Now, the problem comes down here in the bottom section of the list in the comics and graphic novels, or as I call them, and the rest category, where you've got a mix of like Zenescope and Archie and, you know, Valiant Entertainment are all in here. And then you get some weird people like this one, whatever this block of comics are. And sometimes, just sometimes, there is a comic that is listed like The Forbidden Surgeries of the Hideous Dr. Divinius graphic novel, which by itself, graphic novel, totally qualifies. If it's an OGN, totally qualifies for us to review it on the site. The bad thing, and the reason why I don't think we're going to be able to review this one, is because it is from a small publisher that I have no access to, number one. And number two, they don't have a listing on Comixology. So I don't know. If we cannot get a hold of the comic, we obviously can't review it. So that's the other thing that would prevent. Those are the four things. No repeats, you know, no second, third, fourth printings, nothing that someone on Major Spoilers has already claimed, no trade paperbacks, and nothing that we can't get a hold of. So, also, what kind of keyboard? It is this, what is this? I don't know. It's one of them shiny, it's one of those magical keyboards that if I push a button, what button can I push and not screw something up? You know, one of these things. It's a keyboard, a clackety keyboard, not like these really cool, thin, beautiful keyboards that I use on my Mac. So it takes a little getting used to, right? So one is like, for those of you that are old enough, the chunky bar, and then this is just your regular candy bar. So it takes a little getting used to always find the home key on the chunky keyboard. You guys remember chunky bars? I don't know if they still... It just basically was, yeah, the Nestle chunky bar. But basically it was like the thickness of, like, if you took a Hershey bar and you broke it up into all the little squares and you stack like 4 of them on top of each other. That's how thick that chunk was. Now, I think as far as volume-wise go, I think the chunky bar was... I say the chunky boy. The chunky bar was probably the same volume as like a Hershey's chocolate bar. But also the chunky bar also had nuts in it as well. Yes, correct. The season is supposed to lead right into the second Doctor Strange movie, or at least the Doctor Strange movie before the guys left or were let go or whatever happened, and then they had to bring in a new creative team. But yeah, it's supposed to be all tied in. Okay, I think that's where we are at the end of this. Real quick question for you guys. I do plan on doing a stream tomorrow, but the question that I have for you guys is, do you want me to play Vidya games? Here's the chunky bar for those of you that are like flipping out. There's the chunky bar. Look how chunky it is. Oh, I think it had raisins in it too. Gross. But do you want me to do a video game tomorrow? Or the other thing I could do, I've been thinking about this, and I will do this at some point. I thought about just live streaming me stacking and processing some astrophotography stuff that I've done. Well, I don't know how interesting it's going to be, but at least you'll be able to see it go from right out of the camera to something that hopefully will look pretty. So I'll leave that up to you guys. Which one do you guys want me to do? While I'm waiting for your responses, how about we wrap up this show with a look at some of the fine people that make this show possible. And we will be back next week when it's finally Friday. In the meantime, use the chat really quick. Let me know. Astrophotography or Vidya games. We'll be back next time when it's finally Friday. Take care, everyone. Thanks so much for just hanging out. I hope you guys have a great weekend and a great week ahead. Oh, man. Hard to decide. Of course, you can always go back and watch the replay. That is something that is a thing. Maybe if I have enough time, maybe I do both. Ooh.